Okay, so you see that setup there. That's your ideal setup so that we can move.
Otto, your sound level is kind of low.
My sound level?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I think I made a change. Let's see here. Audio settings. How's that? Better? Better? Check, check. Too loud? Too soft? Or just right?
Straight.
Too soft.
What? Someone just said too soft?
Yeah, a little louder.
How about that? Check, check, mic check. 1, 2. If I back up, is that okay? Check, check. You can still hear me? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
And I'm going to be I have these microphones that I'm going to be testing out, trying to get like a lapel mic so that I can be farther away and still be heard. So that should happen shortly. Okay, so again, have your setup here, chair for sitting, and then 2 chairs with the backs of the chairs facing in. And I see a new name, Dwayne Schlemmer. I can't see you because your screen is turned off. And again, if you're in your pajamas and that's how you want it, that's fine. But if you want to turn your screen on, bottom left corner of your computer, laptop, it should say start video. So that's up to you. And let's get going. So I'm going to mute everyone here. Okay. So we begin as we normally do. Scoot a little bit forward on your chair so you've got buttock bones planted. The chair is your primary conduit to the ground. And then your legs are secondary. So it's almost like a tripod for the moment before we stand up and become a bipod. The good thing that we're practicing is that the pelvic torso and Dwayne Schlemmer, for some reason it says you've raised your hand. Do you have a question of some kind? And maybe his audio isn't working. So anyway, we'll see. Okay, so what we're working on is our central upright, central pillar, which for many people is compromised in one way or another. So as we age, the normal compromising that happens is this sort of slouching, this loss of integrity, and then weird things start to happen where, you know, people are walking around kind of like this. The low back is working too hard. The head and neck is compressed because of all that tension. And then the other way it's compromised throughout people's lives is a lot of times people think they have to hold their body in good posture. So then even though someone might look like they have a nice upright posture, the quality of sung, or soft, relaxed, and easy, isn't present. So someone will be holding on, and then you come to touch their body and move the limbs, and you realize there's no adaptability, there's no mobility, there's no supple, pliable adaptability, right? So that's a different kind of problem. So if we don't have alignment, well, then there's a whole slew of issues there. And then if we have alignment, but we don't practice releasing, softening, letting go, then we get another slew of issues there. Okay? So sitting in our chair, buttock bones at the front edge, finding your zhong jump. So apply a little bit of effort to come away from slouching, or if you're leaning back against your chair, sit upright and feel that downward direction of connecting to the ground. And then usually the head and neck need just a little bit of chin down, crown up. So a lot of times if someone says lift the crown or lift your head, people crane the chin forward instead of doing what's correct, which is chin slightly down, crown up, base of neck open. So that's Zhong-Zheng, central upright. And then over time, we understand what Chunwon is, which is softening and releasing and relaxing. It's this idea that sort of like everywhere in the body, we're sort of holding, we're clinging to something that wants to and needs to go down and out of our body. So when we walk around and we feel kind of heavy and clumsy, that from the Taoist perspective comes from these places of hold and congestion and compression that when we loosen up through practice, we feel it go out of the body. So that's called Chunwon, softening and sinking. This quality of heaviness down, but not something that makes us sort of collapse in any way. Like sediment settling through a glass of water and finding its grounding down at the bottom of the glass. And then what you feel is a different quality called Qingling, lightness and nimbleness. Lightness and nimbleness. So it's with that lightness and nimbleness that we want to execute all of these movements that we're going to do. So our first movement, again, stay relaxed. Slide your hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back like you're cracking a walnut. Lift the chest and chin up a little bit and arch. And then slide your hands forward past your knees and hollow the chest back. Drop your head and let the back of the neck open really nicely. And let's just repeat that. Slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, arch the back, look up. And then slide the hands forward past the knees, hollow the chest, drop the head. Add the breathing. Inhale as you slide hands back, arching. This is inhale, 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 hold. Full of breath, and then exhale out the mouth as you round. Again, inhale. Hold that breath nice and full. Exhale. One more time. Back up to neutral. Second movement, slide left hand forward, right hand elbow back. As you do that, turn the shoulders and head to the right as if to look behind you. And then switch, slowly come back through middle and turn. You can work the breath into this one. Inhaling as you're turning back to the center. Exhaling as you're twisting. Inhale. Exhale. Keep in mind, Zhong-Zheng means that you're feeling spacious and aligned. Doesn't mean we're holding the body, but that there's a sort of space throughout. Chunwon means we're not tightening up trying to move. Instead, we're staying relaxed and just oozing through movement, which is that Qingling quality of I'm loose and able to move. One more each way. And then we're back to middle. And I'm reminded of a really important quote from Taoist practice. Tai Chi and Qigong are like resting. They're like resting, which I think is very important for Parkinson's in particular, because in my experience with Parkinson's, looking at how it shows up in symptoms, it's the nervous system, right? And I think that's a known aspect of it. but it's doing things through the body, but it's really at that nervous system electrical level that sort of the problem begins to show itself. So practicing as if resting. So everything we do, go ahead and drop your arms for the third exercise. Everything's like resting. You're just leaning, float this hand up, just relax. This foot can sort of float off the floor and then floating back to the middle and then lean. And sometimes we think if someone says, oh, do it like you're resting, we think, oh, I have to do less, right? And that makes sense in some way. But think of it more like we're in the state of resting, yet we're still being thorough. You're still floating the limb up and then floating it all the way down. And we're leaning all the way left. So we're being thorough. We're completing these movements, but we're not leaving this state of parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and relax and restore. So the whole time we're just in melty, soft rest. Do one more to each side. Finish that last one. Come back to middle. So ideally, these 3 exercises have yielded the result of you've moved all 24 vertebrae in forward and backward arch, rotation, and lateral movement. We've also done some movement with the arms and shoulders, the hips and legs. That relationship is sort of gently relaxed. So there should be a little more space. So do your best not to do the common thing that people do is grab back on that tightness, right? Because we're accustomed to using tightness to keep everything together. The practice in Taoist practice is to loosen that, let go of that. And it can feel a little unstable at first, but over time it becomes absolutely function, like high level function, the more relaxation you have with the integrity of posture. So now to loosen up one of the usual suspects, the most complicated joint in the body is back here, the scapula. If you look at the anatomy of the scapula, it's very complicated. It's got all kinds of muscles running around. It's like a nexus point spider web of problems. And so a lot of times we're stuck there. So let's clear that area. Shrug your shoulders all the way up, as high as they can shrug, and then slide them all the way down. A lot of times when I'm teaching this, I'm doing full shoulder blade movement, and then people are lifting their chest and lowering their chest. They're doing something, but they're not actually moving the mechanism. So make for sure that you're moving the mechanism completely, and also make sure both are equal, right? And that you're hitting the top, so you look kind of like a turtle going into your shell. And then as you come down, you want to feel like a turtle coming out of your shell. Your neck gets a little longer. Have your arms hanging by your sides, so you can feel the weight of the arms going down. Shrug up, and notice your arms came up, but you don't do anything with your arms. They're just loose. And then slide them down. Slide them up. Slide them down. Now, full circles of the shoulder blades. So we come a little forward. Notice as my shoulders go forward, I know it's a little hard to see with the black shirt, but as my shoulders go forward, the chest hollows back. Then lift. Go back with the shoulder blades. Notice with the shoulder blades going back, the chest kind of protrudes out, and then slide shoulder blades down, under, come to neutral, just relax, and then forward and up, over, top, back, and down. And we're going to repeat that a couple of times. Forward and up, over, top, back, down, under, forward and up, over, top. One more time. the net result of this exercise will be, if you're doing it right, space, interior space. Let's go ahead and reverse. Back and up, over top, forward, and slide them down. Come under, back and up, over top, forward, down, under, back and up, over, down, under, back, up, over, down. One more. So it's like flossing our teeth. You get inside the area where there's plaque, and ideally you get that plaque out, and then the space in there is the value of that practice of flossing. So it's very similar with our Taoist movement practices, is that we have extra junk, extra barnacles, extra stiffness throughout the body that we want through. We want to clear it out. All right. And then our last one we'll do here, there's, so many exercises we can do, and we do them at different times. We'll just do sort of the minimum joint mobilization. So bend the elbow, relaxed hands, just very relaxed body. Elbows flare out like chicken wings. Hands are still relaxed. And then just see how high up you can float your elbows. Just stay relaxed. So again, notice the space between scapula or shoulder blades, chest muscles, the muscles of the neck. It's the soft, relaxed quality that allows this freedom of movement. That is what we really want. Go ahead and squeeze the elbows together in front. So as we close here, the back has to open up. And then we relax. And then we open and lift. So the term in Tai Chi and Qigong practice is Shen Fa, which means body method. So everything we're doing, each one is a Shen Fa that demands or induces a change with the internal relationships of the body. So like I said, when we close here, we're forcing something to happen. The back is open. When we go out here and up, we're inducing something again to open up some interior real estate. Now let's change it. Elbows go back behind you, right? So notice I didn't flare them out here. They're in close, back as much as you can, and feel all that musculature in your shoulders and shoulder blades and upper back tone. And then drop your elbows pointing down, forward, and then if you can, this one. So this is one you really want to work on over time, because this is one I notice a lot of people lose, right? You can see I can do it. Elbows are pointing up. The scapula have to do a particular movement to allow it. Then elbows forward, down. Ideally, you feel relaxed. Elbows back. Feel this chest area open. Then elbows down, then forward, then up. We want freedom of movement through this whole range. Forward, down, back. Down, forward, up. Again, we're just flossing our teeth. Just cleaning out what's extra. So there's another saying, a Taoist loses something every day. Meaning we come to our practice to dissolve, to yield, to clear, to clean, to let go.
Otto, you're frozen. Otto, your image is frozen.
It's probably have connection issues.
I guess he'll probably call back in.
Right. We might all have to dial back in. I'm gonna try to dial back in.
Yeah, maybe I'm gonna try dialing back in too. Maybe he's launched a new session.
Well, that was something. Sorry. Can you guys hear me okay now? Anyone? It looks like everyone's muted.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, thanks, Mike. Sorry
Yeah.
about that, guys. I don't know what happened. The internet gods didn't allow. Anyway, let's get back down to it. So I think where we were last was this movement here. So cross and wrap around the body and then open. So again, I'll use that example of the flossing teeth. So there's tension inside spaces here, these moving parts, that by closing and then opening and then closing again and then opening again, right? We clear that out. Let's do again one more. And again, another saying in Tai Chi is top empty, bottom full. Let's go ahead and relax the arms and let them hang down by your side. So the idea that we're carrying around heaviness up top makes us more likely to fall. Whereas as we empty that out, there's this heaviness down underneath that we want to develop. So that's this other saying of top empty, bottom full. Okay. Now sit back in your chair a little bit so that you're very stable. Let's just get these legs tuned up. So lift the right knee and pull the right heel in. So you see this is like a spring that's loading, and then push away, fully open all that space through the joints, and then reload, and then set that foot down. Good to see you, Radhika. I'm just going to mute you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And then we do that with the other leg. So knee comes up a little, load like a spring, unload, push away, reload, and down. Let's repeat this movement a few times, switching legs each time. So we're not doing this against resistance, like if we're doing weighted squats or leg presses or something like that, which has its value to develop power. But here we're developing freedom of movement through the entire range. So the tissue and joints and mechanisms of this movement, including the brain and nervous system, we want it to be able to tell the body to go here, tell it to go all the way there, and tell it to come all the way back and then down. So one of the things I'm noticing with my work with Parkinson's people, especially in private work, but also in these groups, is this truncating of movement. So wanting to have total, complete range. That's what we're thinking. That's how I'm looking at it from the brain perspective, is can you all the way go to this compressed position? Can you then all the way go fully long and then all the way back? So it's the highways and byways are clear. And then load, and push, load, and down. Now, foot and ankle specifically, straighten the legs. So we've got pointed foot, flex foot. So think of that in the same way, the dental flossing concept, as well as this, the cleaning of the highways and byways, pointing, flexing, freedom of movement. And then this subtle movement, tilt the foot in, out. It's called inversion, eversion. Tilt in. Notice my leg isn't moving, but the foot is. Okay. And then circles in, around, and out, and up and over. So freedom of movement through the whole range. And we could spend 2 hours going through each area of the body, hands, feet, and I teach classes sometimes like that. Let's go the other way with the foot. But there's the basics, right? The basic moving parts for a functional body. And the feet are pretty key. And down. Other leg. Float the leg out. Now point foot, flex foot. Point, flex. Point, flex. Freedom of movement. Thorough, but soft. Relax. And then tilt the foot in a little, out a little. That's inversion, eversion, invert, evert. Try to have the leg not move at all, the foot move. And then circle, in, around, and out, and up and over. Circle. And reverse, circle. And scoot forward to the front edge of your chair. And again, a very important movement for our legs and hips that often we don't think about is the external internal rotation. So step your feet a little wider apart than hip distance. Lift your toes up so the heels are touching the ground. And then from the hips, turn internally. Toes point in, knees point in. And then lift your toes, turning open. So this feeling of open groin area is called the quad. It's a space in Tai Chi practice, very important. So a healthy quad means that your legs have freedom of movement, external and internal, and other directions as well. So we got that. But equally as important here is that as you bring your legs back to neutral, that the pelvis moves at that relationship as well. So it's the same junction, the same intersection for leg movement as well as pelvic movement. So notice now your legs are not the moving part. The legs are the stable part, and the pelvis is this moving part. Also notice, we're going to do this a couple more times, that I'm not rounding my spine. I'm keeping this relatively straight spinal column, and I'm moving from that pelvic junction. Now, let's put that into practice. So, we slide our feet back a little, pelvic tip or hinge. Now pause here as you pelvic hinge. If you look at my body, notice my ankles are here. My arms, shoulders, and head, I want them forward of my ankles. As I pour myself out of the chair, notice I didn't thrust myself to standing. First, I got to this position. I'm out of the chair, and then I'm ready to go all the way tall. So a lot of times people miss that initial gesture, and it's very important on the way back as well. So notice my first thing that I did here when I'm ready to sit down, I didn't bend my knees, I didn't round my back, I just hinged at the hips. The butt went behind my ankles, my shoulders, head, and arms are in front of my ankles. Now as I sink, it's my butt behind ankles, arms and shoulders in front that keeps me balanced as I find my chair. Then I can sit in the chair, right? So instead of forcing up, let's practice this spilling out of the chair. So pour yourself forward so that we can use 0 tension-based strength or force or contractile force, and we use 100% sung or soft, supple, pliable, relaxed, easy, nourishing force. So I'm basically resting my way out of the chair and all the way to standing. And then I'm just resting my way. I might as well have a pina colada in my hand here, just relaxing all the way. And again, just relaxing your way out of your chair. And all the way tall. Now, don't sit in your chair, but basically do the exact same movement, right? So you keep your chair where it is. I'm just moving mine, so I have some space issues on my side. So just relaxing your way, sitting your butt. Use this to go down and touch your shins or touch your toes or touch the floor. Get your pen off the floor, your glasses that fell. And then push through the earth and rise all the way to standing. The whole time just relaxed. Just the butt goes back, sink down. And then rise. And remember what I was talking about, Chun-Wan and Ching-Ling, these concepts. Chun-Wan is relaxing our body and letting that sinking happen as our means of finding stability, because we want stability, right? We don't want to fall down, we don't want to be all over the place. But how do we get it? So we got to relax and let it sink. And so now my weight is under my feet, and then this body here is like Gumby. It's loose so that it can just fold to here and stand nice and tall. And the whole time I'm feeling safe because the weight is in the ground. I'm plugged into the ground. One more time. Sink. And again, as I said, with nervous system issues like Parkinson's, very important to be able to stay down regulated, relaxed, totally chill, right? So now we got this chair on your right. So step a little closer to that chair and be able to touch it, use it for safety. And then go no hands. Now, how many legs do we have? We got 2. Usually we're using both to keep us upright, and we're locking the knees and maybe tensing somewhere in the back and grabbing in the shoulders. So let go of all that. Let the shoulders be loose, chest loose, and also let there be this slight bendability in the knees. So just do this little gesture, right? This sort of sink. Now notice I'm not punching my knees and hurting them. I'm just feeling that they're unlocked. They're unlocked. And keep that quality of unlocked and relaxed. Now from your middle pivot, represented by the belly button in the front, just change your weight more to your right leg so that it's less in your left. And then from that same middle pivot, change your weight more to your left so it's less in your right. Now notice my vertical line is staying intact. So in lieu of moving correctly from our middle, a lot of times people are holding stiff because there's like a fear of shifting, and then leaning this upper body, kind of doing something like this. So try to relax and just let your body weight go more to the right leg. And imagine a cappuccino cup on your head not spilling as you just shift over to the right, shift over to the left. Now the next challenge is when you go onto one leg, are you locking the knee? So stay on one leg for a moment and notice, what are you using to keep you upright? Are you grabbing somewhere? Could you relax? Could you allow the leg where the body weight is to have a bend in it, just a little bend? And then you feel that emptiness of the other leg that corresponds with that. And then from your middle pivot, change over to the other leg, stay there. Notice, are you using lock joint or muscle tension? Can you relax? As you relax down through this, what you find is, oh, this becomes more free. Change. So they call this separate, empty, and full in Tai Chi practice. It's an essential, fundamental awareness we start to have, where at first we're changing weight maybe like this, but we're still weighted in both legs versus, oh, one is full and one is like a feather, empty. So next challenge, stay in your right leg. You go into your right leg. Chair's there if you need it. In your left empty foot, lift the heel and get to the very tip of the shoe. Very tip of the shoe. And then put that heel down without letting weight go into it. That's an important piece. And then change. So now your weight goes through that leg. Your right foot now empty. Can you just lift the heel, get to the tip of the shoe? And again, it's light because you're appropriately connecting through this way. Put that heel down without any weight in it. Shift. Stay in your right leg. Lift left heel, get to the tip of that left shoe. Put the heel down, no weight, and then just like you're resting. Just like you're resting. This is level 2 of this exercise. Let's go level 3. This is where you'll probably need your chair. So get to weight in your left leg, get to the tippy toe of the right foot, and then disconnect that foot from the floor. All right, so this is the proof of, are you actually empty or not? Put the foot down, still empty. Change the weight to that right leg. Now stay in the right leg, go tippy toe, use the chair for safety as needed, disconnect, reconnect to the floor, shift. Once you've established your ground, then this foot might be able to lift and lower, and then shift. Wait until you actually establish the connection to the ground before lifting, lowering, shifting. Cappuccino cup still doing good on the head. Relaxed quality through the body. Shift. And when you first are doing this, it feels less stable because we're so accustomed to grabbing and holding that by letting go, we're sort of like, whoa, where's my stability coming from? But if you just keep relaxing and keep loosening the body, then you find this stable ground quality. Let's go level, final level in this exercise. Hand on chair for this one, please, as you go all the way up. So now the knee cannot go any higher, and then all the way down, connected to the ground. And then shift. And then this other leg being empty, we go all the way up, all the way down, shift, all the way up, all the way down, shift. All the way. So we're training the body and the standing leg to have this relationship to the ground. Relaxation is required to get the feeling we're looking for, but it feels a little less stable in the beginning, but it's something you train, and then eventually it's the most natural quality in the world. All right, now, from this position, stay over here, but take a little step back, make sure the chair is in front and to the right, so you have a little extra room in front of you. Put your weight in your left leg. Take your empty right foot and put it in front of you with the heel touching and the toes up in the air. So this position, right? Like that, okay? Now, shift into your front leg, get to the tippy toe of the foot behind you, and then shift to the back leg. Another saying in Tai Chi, primary direction, down. So even though I'm moving forward and backward, I don't have to think forward, backward. I just think, oh, my foot's out in front. Well, I better just go down through and connect to the earth. And oh, my body came along for the ride. Same thing in the way back. Just shift down, make sure I'm connected down to the ground. Oh, I moved back 3, 4, 5 inches, right? And back. Now we add to this challenge to say, okay, how full am I in the back? How empty in the front? Use the chair. From this hip, just lift, lower, shift. Now, if I'm truly 100% now in that front leg, I should be able to do the little flamingo lift, this little bend to this back knee, touch the toe back to the floor where it was, and then shift. If I'm truly down through this leg, this lift should be able to occur without causing a bunch of chaos in the system. And then shift. If I'm truly full through that right leg, then this should be able to just come off the floor, no problem. Cappuccino cup still doing good. Down. So just this simple, right? It's simple in the sense that it doesn't require some incredible gymnastic thing, but it does require precision. It requires straight down through, letting the mechanism of the leg have a little quality of bend in it. Now, use the chair for this one. Let's go all the way down, shift, and then this back leg, knee comes forward and up, toe reaches back. Very important here. Don't let that reach back pull your body weight with it, and then shift. The weight going down allows for this up. So the whole time, all you're thinking is down, and that allows this up. And then I'm thinking down, and this can come up. Switch sides. So parallel feet, side step. Closer to this side. Put your weight in your right leg. Left foot being empty, put it in front, heel touching. Level 1 exercise, a great time to not use the chair if you can, because we're just shifting, tippy toe, shifting, and then shift. So this is the one you can really practice just being super relaxed, connect to the ground, because we're not pulling a foot off the ground at all. Primary direction, down. Now use the chair, lift, lower, shift. flamingo, toe down, shift. And notice my feet, I'm in a very close, small stance, but you can practice everything you need that then could show up in larger stances and even jogging and running. It's the same essential skill, but we have to find this whole body relationship down to the earth. Lift, lower, shift. Find how the down gives you the up. How the down is this primary should be our primary thing we're attending to. Am I connected? Down. And we stay down. Now, hand on chair, full lift, heel down in front, shift. And then this back leg, forward and up, toe reach back, shift. The weight going down is what allows that whole movement to happen safely. The weight going down. One of my clients that I'm working with who's having, she doesn't have Parkinson's, she's got other pretty serious issues with balance. But in our work together, said, you're gonna go down one way or the other, right? You're gonna go down to the floor. It's just a matter of, are you doing it skillfully? Or if you're not doing it skillfully, you're gonna fall and go to the ground, right? So you gotta get there one way or the other. So let's find this way of, I'm down there, I'm on the ground, I'm in the ground, I'm connected to the ground correctly, so I don't have to be thrown down to the ground. All right. Now we're gonna work on sideways movement. So that was forward and backward movement. Now come in front of your chair, and actually we'll do one more forwards backwards. So move to the left side of your space here. Turn and face down range. So now you have a runway. So hopefully you're at the one far end. So you're not in the middle of your space anymore. Hopefully you're at one far end so that you have some room to go. Chairs should be on your left or somewhere for safety. Now empty your left foot, put it in front, heel touching, shift. Now put the other foot in front, heel touching, shift, primary direction down. Other foot steps, empty, and then shift. Because a lot of times when we're walking, we're putting the step and the throwing of our body weight all in one. So we want to discern step from shift. Step from shift. Now we're going to go backwards, same thing. Shift. So you have an empty foot, put the toe behind you, and then shift. Now you have an empty foot, take that empty foot, move it behind you, step without shifting, shift without stepping. Step without shifting, shift without stepping. Step without shift, shift without step. Let's go forward. Now eventually it can flow again, but first we have to separate the events. We got to go, okay, that's me changing weight. This is me stepping an empty foot. This is me changing weight to that leg. This is me stepping the foot that's empty, because you have to prove that you actually got 100 and 0. 100% in one, 0 in the other. Because a lot of times we're not doing it. We're doing 70-30 and just kind of clod hopping along. But you have to go, okay, boom, I really am committed to one. I'm stepping the other and it's empty. And then I'm committing to that one and stepping and committing, stepping. And when you go backwards, it's got to be the same thing. Shift, you got to make sure you're staying in the leg that's your weight leg as you step back. And then shift, make sure you've committed to one. The stepping foot is empty. Then you commit and step. Commit, step. Let's do that one more time. Shift, step, shift. Then if you feel kind of comfortable with that, you can just start to flow. Remember, daiquiri in hand. We're just resting. We're just going, So relaxed but not sloppy. That's the deal. Precise but not rigid. Not rigid. All right. Now, turn and face forward again at the far left side of your space. Put the weight through your left leg. Step that right foot out a little. In a little. Out. In. Notice an important piece of this is that I'm not letting my middle get pulled and pulled. So that's that clumsy thing that isn't happening when I let this leg remain empty during the step, 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 step. Now, step the foot out, leave it there. Change the weight into the right leg. Importantly, don't pull this heel off the ground. Keep this empty leg heel glued to the ground. That makes it so that your groin, your quad, your leg tissue and joints have to open. And then shift. Same thing on this side. Don't pull the heel off. Try to get 100-0. And then change that 100-0 with both feet touching the earth. Notice your cappuccino cup. How's it doing, right? What that means is that if I'm not moving from the quad and the waist and the belly correctly, I'm probably doing something funny up high, which would tip the cup off the head. Versus when you move correctly from this correct mechanism, your zhongjang, your central upright, perfectly fine, perfectly intact. Now, go into your right leg, stay there. Left leg being empty, bring it both in and out while empty. In and out. In and out. Without spilling a drop. Now, bring the foot in, keep it in. This one, very important. Feet together, almost touching if possible. Change the weight to the left. Change the weight to the right without spilling your teacup. So this forces you to find down as opposed to left and right. Down. 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 And you'll notice when I'm down through my one leg, the other is empty. When I'm down through this leg, this one's empty. This mechanism, the belly, low back, and quad. That section of our body is what we're really training here to be the primary functional pivot. Now, go into your left leg, stay there, step out. Change the weight, step in. Change the weight from that internal mechanism, step out. Change, step in. So we're just headed that way. Teacup's doing fine. Central pivot is intact. Just cruising along, staying grounded the whole time. The body's relaxed and at ease. Then we go that way by going in, out, shift, down, allows for me to step in. Down allows that step out. Down, stepping in. Down. There. Loose. Relax. Easy. And a lot of time there's pain that comes from training our body in this direction. Pain of muscles that have been working so hard that are being asked to let go. And also muscles that have not been working. Let's do it again, there and back. Muscles that have not been working because these other ones have been doing more than their fair share. This sort of girdle, there's like a girdle or a chassis in our pelvic floor and in our back, and this area that's sort of been kept out of the work mode. So it might be a little weak and it needs to come online. There's muscles in our knees and ankles and throughout the body that when you practice Tai Chi, even though it's relaxing as the goal, there's work. There's this work of letting go and also of turning on areas that have been slumbering, right? And back, step, And by going slow, you find these mechanisms, you train these mechanisms, and then they can be done swift and sudden. So that's the really cool part, but you can't rush to get there. You do have to unlearn these sort of bad habits and relearn how to move with looseness. But then there's this suddenness. Wow, there's this really cool quality that comes, but it's on the infrastructure of this slowing down bit. All right, now come stand in between your chairs. So we've done forward, backward movement. We've done lateral, sideways movement. Now this turning in space, primary direction is still down. So keep that in your mind, because people fall when turning, but a lot of times it's because they aren't connected to the ground while turning. They're sort of up here and then launching themselves over the ground. So put the weight in your left leg, right leg empty, turn the right foot out, and then turn the foot neutral, and then importantly, turn the foot in. So remember we did external and internal rotation, the movement at the quad. So now we're doing that here. Turn just the right leg external, neutral, internal, neutral, external. Now try to skip the neutral and just go external, internal, external, internal. So it's just a leg at the hip socket, freedom of movement. And then back to neutral. Let's go other leg. So we put the weight in the right, left leg empty, now has the freedom of movement to external, neutral, internal, neutral. Now let's skip neutral and just go in, external, internal, external, in, and neutral. Change. Now, right leg turns out. Keep it there. Body weight goes down through the right leg. Body turn, weight is down, and then bring your left foot to match your right foot. And we're going to do that again. Empty your right leg, turn it out however many degrees you can. It's empty still. And then shift the weight down through, turn the body, and now you should be facing another quarter turn or so to your right. Okay, and then empty the right leg again, turn the right leg out 90 degrees or whatever you can, and then shift. So we're just turning to the right and doing it ideally without spilling one drop of that cappuccino cup. Empty your right foot, turn it out, smooth shift of weight in that right leg, turn, bring the left foot to match. Let's go around the second time. So go slow enough to use only relaxed, soft, easy. You could say oozing. That's how it feels. It feels like I'm oozing through that movement with that relaxation. Rather than if I try to speed up, invariably it's tense and then yank, pull, throw the body awkwardly versus ooze and ooze. Just melt and melt. And that keeps me grounded. It keeps the nervous system chill. Now we're going to go the other way. So weight through the right leg, turn left foot out. Weight down through the left, right. And then empty the left foot, turn it out, and then just shift. And again, change, turn out, change, turn, change, turn out, change. Go around the second time. It's nice and easy, relaxed, keeping your middle pivot as the only part that really matters here. That, yeah, we're turning around, we're changing our orientation in the room, but we are not yanking our body around unsafely. All right. And so those basics can get you to and from anywhere you need to go, from empty foot step going forward somewhere, and then you got a side step, and then you got to turn and go change direction and then go forward, and then another step, and now I got to change over here. But all of that is middle pivot, empty and full, weight going down, bringing the primary direction. So practice this all day, because this is how you get around, right? So there's endless opportunities to practice. I'm going to go up my stair, right? If I'm going to step up a stair here, I can either yank my body awkwardly, or I can go, okay, weight is here, this is empty, now I'm stepping up on my stair, now I'm shifting my weight into this leg, going down through this leg to power the body up, and this one is now empty and can float up safely to step on the same stair or the next stair. So it's everywhere. That's what I love about these principles and these techniques, is that they're everywhere, including how you wash dishes, or how you're brushing your teeth. Are you locking out in your legs, or are you hanging out and putting your weight in one? And is your wrist relaxed as you brush your teeth, or are you tense? Or as you wash your dish, can you relax and find the circles and spirals? So it's everywhere in your life you can practice these qualities, okay? And then we finish with shogun, wing, roll, fold, settle. Here's the navel, which represents our middle. Turn the hands to face the middle. Just a couple of breaths here, what's called middle embrace. Knees are soft, hips are loose. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, relaxed but not sloppy. Right? So relaxed but precise in our standing position. Just a couple of breaths as we let everything settle from all the yang of doing something, right? The yang, the manifesting. We're allowing the yin settle. And then we seal the practice, take center of one palm on top of the navel, center of other palm on top of that hand. It's like a little cork in a wine barrel. And then we close with this little hand position. All right, so you see that little yin-yang symbol. And all right, thank you so much, everybody. If there are questions of any kind, feel free to